Hello, and thank you for joining us for the third in our Work Study Primer series. This presentation is on how to create a posting in JobX, covers the mechanics of actually getting the information into the system in order for it to be reviewed and then posted so that student applicants can see your position. Before we start, I'd like to cover two items. The first of which is the information necessary to create the posting, as we'll discuss in the slides ahead, is actually covered in part 2 of the series, which is on job development and covers the thought process behind coming up with the job, the duties, the requirements. I'd highly encourage you to review that presentation before proceeding with this one. Additionally, I would like for you to keep in mind anyone creating a position should review this FSA handbook quote. For those of you who don't work in financial aid, the FSA handbook is the guiding regulatory document under which all federal financial aid is administered. And the handbook says, to the maximum extent practicable, work-study positions must complement and reinforce each recipient's educational program or career goals. In other words, work-study positions are created not just for the purpose of getting work done by the employer, but also to provide a beneficial professional development opportunity to the student wherever possible. We'd encourage you to think of your students as professional employees and to provide opportunities for them to grow as such. In order to begin the process, first you must log into JobX. The URL is listed here, or you can simply Google UNC Work Study to navigate to this page. Current work study supervisors will use the link in the middle of the page and click on Work Study Supervisor to access the next step. Once you reach the on-campus employer page, or the supervisor resources site as it's alternatively called, you'll use the link on the right, the job management login, to begin creating your position. Please note, before doing this, you need to have reviewed the annual training presentations on regulatory and logistical information, as well as the JobX presentation, and complete the mandated quiz with a 100% grade before your job position can be considered. Creating a posting without having completed these three requirements will result in your posting simply being placed into a holding queue. Once you've opened the link to the job management, you'll have to authenticate by using your ONYEN and password on this screen. Once your ONYEN has been authenticated, you'll be moved into the Job Manager screen of JobX. At this point, you'll want to select your department from the drop-down menu on the left. Those supervisors who have dual appointments with multiple departments and have especially requested and been allowed to post for both departments will be able to pick from multiple items on this list. If at any point you ever forget how to proceed from this screen, please remember, instructions are located at the top of the page. Once you've selected your department, you'll now have the opportunity to either create a new job or to update a position from a previous year. The link for creating a new job is the button at the top of the page which says Add a New Job, and the link for modifying a position is to simply click on the link under Title for any position you would like to view. Those of you updating a job from the previous year will be directed to a page that contains information from said previous year. Please note, at the top left of the page, the position will have 0 openings and will not be eligible for posting because of this, and will be located in the storage queue. Please make sure to update the number of openings for the position to at least 1 before submitting the position back to the listed or pending approval queue. You may do so by clicking the Edit This Job button located here. The first step in creating a new work-study program is to determine whether the position will be created for the Federal Work-Study Program or the Carolina Works Program. Carolina Works is new for the 2018-19 academic year and is awarded to those students who do not meet federal work-study requirements but would still like to participate in the work-study program at UNC. Using the drop-down that will appear on your screen, please select from the options afforded to you. Do note, not all of these options displayed before you will be available to every supervisor. In most cases, you will see either an on-campus or off-campus set of options. Once you've used the drop-down to select the appropriate program, please click the button entitled Go to the Next Step. At this point, you will see your job profile and the 18 fields of information which you will need to supply in order to have the job posted. For purposes of description, we break these 18 fields down into two groups, the job descriptors and the job logistics. In order to meet federal regulatory compliance and meet all rules posed by the Federal Work-Study Program, all job descriptions and postings must meet the items displayed in front of you, as well as several other FSA regulations. Rather than asking supervisors to read through their postings to make sure that they meet all of these items, we simply ask supervisors to utilize the JobX system. In doing so, utilizing the JobX system and filling every required field, all of these regulations will be met. The first field you'll need to supply is the job category. Depending on whether you're an on or off-campus supervisor, you'll have a drop-down list of items to choose from here. I'd strongly encourage you not to use the miscellaneous or other option, but to try and find one of the categories besides miscellaneous other that resembles your position. This is because the miscellaneous or other category is searched far less often than any of the other items on this list. Next, you'll want to supply the job title of the position. Please note this is a free-form position and you are free to choose any set of words that represents the job outlined in the posting. The next set of items you'll need to complete is the job description. This is a basic overview of the duties, tasks, and requirements for the students, and is often the field they utilize to best determine if the posting is a good fit for their needs and interests. Please note that if you need additional help in writing the job description and the job requirements, which will be discussed on the next slide, you can utilize the Job Posting Development Guide on the Supervisor Resources page in JobX. Additionally, a presentation over how to create the job description and job requirement fields is listed on the Supervisor Resource Training site under the WS Primer Planning a Posting presentation. The job requirements field comes next. This is an overview of the knowledge, skills, abilities, and other factors students will need to be successful in the position. We always recommend that you list the required knowledge, skills, abilities, and other factors, but you may also include optional and preferred skills in this category as well. You'll next come to the first of our two new fields for the 18-19 academic year, the learning outcomes. In conjunction with University Career Services, we are updating our positions to better inform students of the skills and learning abilities that they have in each position. University Career Services has completed a list of competencies that UNC employers are looking for in students, and the work study team has completed a list of over 130 skills in each of these competencies. Employers will be required to select at least 3 and up to as many as they would like in order to show students the skills and abilities and learning outcomes that can be gleaned from each position. If you'd like to see the full list of skills, under the Supervisor Resources site you can find Skill-Based Learning Outcome List, a Word document with all 139 skills. Next is the second of our two new fields for 18-19, the keywords for search. JobX previously has had a search capacity, but this search capacity has gone through all possible fields and part of the posting. So someone with a last name of biology working in the physics department might get applications for students interested in biology-related positions. Instead, we asked JobX to create a new position, and we will be utilizing the Twitter formula. In other words, you as supervisors can describe the position using a hashtag and then a word or words minus spaces that students might search for in order to find your position. There's no limit to the number of keywords that you can utilize, but we do ask that each starts with a hashtag and that you think through what items students will be most interested in concerning your position. We'll now move to the job logistics fields, which contains predefined sets of information about your job posting. The first of these is the number of available openings, which will need to be at least 1, but we do not police the maximum number of openings for your position. Please be sure that whatever number you select, you are able to provide a meaningful experience and employment for that student throughout the semester. The next field would be hours per week. This can range from 0 to 20. Although the average is between 8 and 15. Please be sure that the number on the left is smaller than the number on the right, or you utilize the same option for the right side. Next, you'll be able to select the time frame for the job. For work-study positions, you will have the option of academic year, fall, or spring. The academic year in this case applies to both fall and spring semesters and will afford the student the opportunity to work over the break in between the two terms. If you're creating a position for Carolina Works, you have the option of academic year, fall, spring, or Carolina Works academic year, which will include summer 2019. Please note, work-study positions are not eligible to utilize the Carolina Works academic year, as they are not allowed to use federal funding for the summer term under our current program structure. The base pay rate allows you to select a group of wages appropriate to the job posting above. Please note that on the Supervisor Resources page, we provide extensive guidance on how to determine the appropriate wage level for your position, including a wage determination form that mimics what the Federal Work-Study team will do when reviewing these positions. You should note that federal program regulations require that a student's wage rate is based solely on their skills and the job description. The wage system at UNC utilizes a 4-tier system based on the job description and allows supervisors to choose the appropriate wage rate from within that tier. We utilize a 12-item matrix in determining the correct pay tier or level, which is visible as previously mentioned in the processing slide on the Supervisor Resources page. You can utilize this tool by finding across each factor what is the appropriate pay level and then assigning the pay level with the most factors as the appropriate one. The next set of fields provides supervisors the ability to list out individual hours of operation or special details about each day of the week. Please note, this is not a required set of fields, but one offered to supervisors based on a need voiced during the 2017-18 academic year. The next section contains information about you, the primary supervisor who will be posting the position. You'll need to select yourself or one of the other registered work-study supervisors under the primary contact field, and then you have the option of providing your phone, fax, email, and/or location. We strongly recommend that you include your location on this posting. It is one of the top 8 factors students review when determining whether a job is worth submitting an application. We'd also suggest that you include either a phone number, fax, or email so that students may reach out to you with questions about the position. At this stage, you also have the option of including secondary supervisors through the secondary contact people field here. Please note there is no limit on the number of secondary supervisors that you may list on this position, and all secondary supervisors will share in the supervision, training, and daily responsibilities. However, the primary supervisor is the person most in charge of overseeing the role and the person with whom enforcement of regulatory compliance rests. In order to be added to either the primary or secondary supervisor, a supervisor needs to have completed annual training, the annual quiz, and be enrolled as a WS supervisor on the JobX system. Next, you'll have the option of selecting whether this is a community service job. In most cases, this field is reviewed by the Federal Work-Study team heavily before allowing the position to be posted. The majority of our positions are not community service jobs, but rather serve the campus, which is not described as community service under federal regulations. Finally, you'll be presented with the option of whether or not you would like to collect online applications for the position. Please note, in order to utilize the work-study program, you will need to collect online applications, as this allows us to confirm applicant eligibility for the work-study and Carolina Works programs. When you've finished completing the 18 descriptive and logistical fields associated with the posting, you'll want to click the Submit button at the bottom of the page. Please note, this starts a 30-minute timer to complete the last 2 parts of the job posting process. At this point, you'll have the opportunity to update the job application section. What you see before you is the general job application that is applied to every position. This is a perfectly acceptable method of application utilization, though we would encourage you to make customizations as you see fit. Please note, clicking on the pen and paper icon on the far right of the screen will open up menus, whether you're clicking on the one next to a section header or an individual question. As you can see on the left, the section headers and individual questions give you a different set of options. Section headers simply allow you to move sections around on the page, and the individual question options allow you to make questions mandatory, pre-fill the question from previous applications the student may have submitted, and to move the question order around. When finished, you'll want to click the Save Application button here. Please note there's a section at the bottom of the page if you would like to introduce a new question not outlined in the general section. We highly encourage supervisors to utilize this option, the reordering, and the addition or removal of fields as needed to customize the application to their position. Job application customization has not been a common practice in previous years. However, with the 18-19 year, we are strongly encouraging all supervisors to consider making modifications to the job application in order to make the process more efficacious and efficient for them. 3 main options are available: adding questions, mandating answers to questions, and eliminating questions. You also have the ability to create brand new questions utilizing the option at the bottom of the previous page as we've outlined. Upon completing the application, you'll be moved to the third and final of the 3-step process. This involves creating individual information about when and how your position will be displayed and to whom its posting will be communicated. First, the system will ask when you want the job to be reviewed for approval. We suggest doing so as soon as possible unless you need to work on your job a little more. Second, we ask when you wish for the job to be listed. We strongly advise you to have the job listed immediately. While students will not be able to view these positions until August 1st, getting the position immediately posted negates a step where you need to come back later and resubmit the job for posting. Third, the system will ask if you want job mail to be sent to students once the position is listed. Job mail is an automated email notification system under which students can prescribe certain conditions and receive notices once jobs meeting those conditions have been posted. In other words, the system will send an email notification to students who are interested in jobs just like yours. For this reason, we do suggest that you use the yes option. And finally, for how many days do you wish for the job to be listed? In almost every case, we ask you to utilize the until I close the job option. Jobs are left out on the system until filled or until supervisors choose to take them down, which they may do so at any point by moving the job into the review queue. When finished, please use the Click Here to Finish button at the bottom of the page. Doing so will move you into the review and confirmation screens. We would recommend that you as a supervisor view the job details utilizing the link on this page to ensure that the position is written as you have intended it. As you might note from the screenshot below, JobX utilizes an HTML coding, and if you copy and paste information into your job description and job requirements, the interpretation of the plain text code via HTML reviewing may result in some unexpected changes. If you've finished reviewing and are ready to return to your control panel, perhaps to create another job posting, please utilize the Return to your Control Panel link here. Once you've submitted your job for review and approval, you'll notice it moves to the Pending Approval queue on your Job Manager screen. The work study team will review the position as soon as possible, and upon doing so, move it to the Listed queue if at all possible. If any modifications are made or required to the position, you will receive an email notification from the work study team at work-study@unc.edu or an individual team member. If you would like to edit your job after it has already been posted, you have 2 options. The first is to edit the job descriptors and job logistics using the pen and paper button on the far right under Actions. Additionally, you can edit the job application by using a different button on the right side of the screen. Please note, modifying any position that has already been approved and listed will require the job to be reviewed before it can be listed again. In other words, any modifications made to the job after it has been listed will delist it while the staff of the WS team reviews the position again. Thank you for reviewing this presentation. If you'd like to see more in our series or more information on this topic, we invite you to go to our website. The URL is listed here, or you can simply utilize Googling UNC Work Study. If you have questions about other topics or would like to reach the work study team, simply email work-study@unc.edu.